Broadcasting Associate at ENODA, and today we're celebrating International Women in Engineering Day 2025. And to celebrate that, we have some of our multidisciplinary team. So we're going to talk about some of your learnings, your motivations, and your experiences as a woman in the field of engineering. And we're also going to kind of hark back to some of the achievements from female engineers, both past and present. So I'll briefly introduce you guys, and then we'll get going with the questions. But to my left, we have Hannah Brand, Talent Acquisition Partner, who's going to give us a bit of insight into kind of like the hiring landscape for women in engineering at the moment. We also have Swati Yadav, our Asset Support Engineer, and finally, Akshita Chaudhary, our Database Engineer. So let's get things started. So I kind of thought that we could start with the same question to all three of you, because I thought it was quite a good one to start with, which is, which women in engineering, past or present, have inspired you, and how has their work influenced your career or your fields? And I think we'll kick off with you, Swati, if you don't mind.
Thank you, Emily. Hi, this is me, Swati. I'm here at ENODA as an asset support engineer. Today it feels really good, and I'm a bit excited to express something on my side. So one woman I remember has really inspired me is Edith Clark. She was first electrical woman in US. Her groundbreaking contribution has really motivated me. She was a first woman as an engineer, and she has contributed a lot in power system analysis that directs me to my field. Her story really motivates me, at the same time reminds me of resilience and innovations can really go together.
Yeah, I love that. We're obviously using power systems engineering every day, so you don't think about the people however many hundreds of years ago who actually started it, so that's an interesting one to start with. A long time. Same question to you, Hannah.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Hannah, Talent Acquisition Partner. Obviously I'm not a woman in engineering, but I work with engineers regularly and recruit a lot of engineers into ENODA. And so who I've chosen to inspire me is Mary Jackson, NASA's first Black female mathematician and engineer. And this was before the end of segregation, so obviously a testament to how amazing she was, not only as a person, but as a creative mind. And she really inspires me because not only was she, of course, groundbreaking achievements in engineering, but also at a later point in her career, she took a step back from the engineering side and devoted herself to sort of women's program management, and so spent that part of her career making sure that other women and other minorities would get the same opportunities that she did. And so that really reminds me not to pull the ladder up behind me when I'm in these male-dominated spaces, and to create opportunities for other people other than myself who maybe didn't get those opportunities through these.
That's amazing. That's such a positive way to reframe it as well, when you're kind of used to having that scarcity complex of potentially being the only woman in that field or that department, and then kind of, building on mentorship and all these things that we want to champion here. Definitely. Supporting each other in our nice network. So Akshita, how would you answer that question?
Right, thank you, Emily. And hi, my name is Akshita, and I'm a data engineer working at ENODA, and it has been a fantastic experience answering your question. But I think that whenever we think about engineering, we look at, we imagine or picture it as codes, mechanical systems, or machines. But I believe that at the very core, the engineering is all about solving the problems more thoughtfully and looking or building a better way forward. And so by that definition, I would say that the most inspiring engineer I have known is my mother. And I say that because she has earned, she may not have had the formal title of an engineer, but she had earned a postgraduate degree in science and worked as a science educator. And I think I watched her engineer her way through life by managing challenges with more creative thinking and I would say approaching to problems with a more calm logic. And so I guess that quite innovation stayed with me. And so she showed me that you don't really need a job title to think like an engineer. And I guess that mindset really shapes how I think, how I learn, and how I work today. And there are, in fact, many brilliant women in engineering we have. and I admire all of them. But the foundation of how I started and why I think so started at home. So engineering for me is basically a mindset. As
Absolutely.
well.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a great answer, and you're so right that you don't need to have a certificate to think
Exactly.
curiously and challenge things that are going on and kind of engineer in your head. I think that's so important. And we
Right.
see that, don't we, when we're working with so many different people with different schools of thinking.
Of course. Yeah.
Everyone's processes and thoughts are valid. And yeah, I think that. Great answer. But so I suppose if we're kind of thinking of a historical figure or someone that's like more involved in the field of data science, is there anyone that kind of comes to mind thinking about that?
Right. So I do admire a lot of women, and there are many women contributing to data and AI. But one true female engineer whom I'm really inspired by is Dr. Rohini Srivastav, and she's currently a chief technical officer at Microsoft India and South Asia, where she really focuses on data and AI to solve real-world complex problems. And what really admires me I admire her about the most is how she combines the deep technical expertise with the more human-centered thinking, and which makes the data more meaningful and not just measurable. And so I think that really is very inspiring because she has done a lot of work in transforming business through technology. And I think, and it's really inspiring to see that her work highlights how engineering really meets creativity and basically creates a magic. So I think that's quite deeply motivating to look at her and get inspired by her work. So
Yeah, I love that. I love the kind of thinking of pairing the human element with like the data and that coming together. Because I suppose at the core of everything we do here at ENODA as well, we're always thinking about like the bigger picture and like who that's implementing and like how that implements people, not just like machines and systems and all these kind of things. So it's a great thing to keep front of mind. So going back to you, Swati, I'd be really interested to hear about what kind of advice you'd give young women who are starting out their career in engineering and kind of what you're really passionate about within engineering.
Okay, I would like to suggest don't hesitate, just go for it. Think of people like Edith Clark who didn't wait for anyone permission, just step into the field and just keep going.
Yeah.
Be curious, ask questions, don't be afraid, take up your space. You belongs to engineering as much as anyone else.
Absolutely, love that. Of course you belong to engineering. So in that kind of thinking, what do you enjoy most about the work you do on a day-to-day basis? What gets you excited about engineering?
So what I really enjoy is solving a mix of technical problems. So here at ENODA, I'm an asset support engineer. I ensure that I help to ensure basically our system runs reliably and efficiently. So, and my work will be a part of crucial development in future or kind of sustainable development. So I'm being a part of that. That really is motivating for me and I really enjoy it. And second thing, for anyone to be considered in this field in future, I would advise that you will not be just doing your job, but you will also be reshaping the things for generations to come.
Oh, I love that. That sounds great. So actually, that's a similar question to you, but what advice would you give to any young women if you're thinking about studying or working in engineering? And also, what are you passionate about in the field of engineering?
So the advice that I would like to give to all the young women out there is that if you really think about it, and if you can think, and if you have the ability to imagine, you can most certainly create it. And engineering is not about always. It is about turning your ideas into reality. So it's not about knowing all the answers, but it's about being curious enough to really find them. And I think, so I would say be curious, be passionate, and as Swati rightly said, you just go for it, don't hesitate, because that's like part of, the part of the process is that you would make mistakes, but that's really okay. And there's some practical advice to that. It would be that if you choose any domain in engineering, I would suggest that join hackathons, do internships. I would say explore different side projects and make sure to take a real world, work with real world application, because that really helps you connect the dots between theory and practice.
Yeah.
And I think that will make you eventually have your confidence grow. And as you grow, you should also make sure to share what you learn. So either by speaking, through writing, or just contributing to communities, I think that really would make a difference. It would automatically strengthen your own understanding.
Yeah.
And that way I would say, and then I would say finally, don't stop learning, because I think learning will, going ahead and learning will make you grow. And because the moment you stop learning is the moment you stop evolving. So I think you get better to building better solutions when you just keep on having that courage to learn and grow. So yeah, that's my advice to all the young women out there, that you totally belong here. And
Yeah. I think that's a really good point to make as well, like mistakes, as though we're kind of scared of them most of the time, especially like I know women are more prone to be afraid of messing up, but that's part of learning. Like it happens, everybody makes mistakes, everybody learns from it, and then taking that accountability and saying, hey, like I'm confused or this went wrong, like can you help me? That's the only way you're going to learn from it, rather than being concerned that you made an error or something. So I think that's a really good point to touch on. And you kind of mentioned it already, but I think, were you saying you're kind of like what you enjoy about engineering is like there was that problem solving element and the kind of like.
Oh, right. Yeah, so I think I've always been quite curious by nature, and about how things really work. And so I always was drawn to, growing up, I was drawn to gadgets and problem solving. And I would say that naturally led me to engineering. And I started out as a software engineer, and worked through a variety of domains in software engineering, be it cloud-native technologies, or I would say front-end engineering, back-end engineering. But going forward, what really caught my interest was data, and how it flows, and how it really shapes decisions, and how powerful it can be when it is used well. So I think that really, pulled me into data engineering, and I think I really enjoy to work with data. And what keeps me going is the consistent learning and growing, because you need to have the constant learning that really evolves you, because it's not just about progressing into a career, but it's about being more thoughtful, being more capable, and being more sharper. So I would say that has really helped me stay in this path, and I think as long as I'm growing, I think I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. So yeah,
you're exactly where you're supposed to be, because you're here, and we're so happy to have you. Well, that's great. Thank you so much, and thank you for kind of sharing like historical figures and your current advice. But I suppose the next thing that I'm kind of thinking of for this chat is what's next? What's the next steps for women and engineers? Like, have you seen a difference in your career and how women in engineering are treated? Where is there room for more progress? So it would be great to get your thoughts on that, Hannah.
Yeah, I think for me this is a little bit of a complex question. Obviously I'm hiring engineers for a wee while now, so we get a pretty good overview of at least what that market looks like. And I think obviously there's a lot to celebrate in terms of, we look back at people like Mary or like Edith, and how far we've come from those situations where women had to be absolutely extraordinary to get a foot in the door, and sort of where we consider ourselves now. So, like I said, obviously we've made amazing leaps and bounds from historically where we've been, but both in academia and in the workforce, women make up less than 20% of engineers. And I think, something that's maybe a narrative change maybe, or a language change is not expecting women to always be extraordinary or to be the amazing outlier, but allowing women to be just good at what they're doing. And I think, there's really small ways in talent acquisition, for example, that we can encourage women to apply for certain roles or get involved in engineering. Obviously, in terms of academia and stuff, by the time we get to talent acquisition, it's going to be a little bit late to encourage people to be becoming engineers. But simple things like, it's been reported on many times that women are less likely to apply for a role if they don't hit every single one of the criteria. And so we make sure that our criteria list is very concise, and we make it very clear which elements of your skills we're looking for that are absolute necessity versus what is a nice to have, I suppose. And also things like, women tend to have more responsibilities outside of their sort of 9-to-5 job than men do on average. And so making sure that we have flexible interview times, for example, or giving people enough time to complete technical challenges, recognizing that there's a big difference between somebody who finishes their workday at 5 versus somebody who goes home and cares for children, for example, or extended family members. Again, very simple ways that we can try and encourage equity within the workplace. But I think how we really improve this from the get-go is what I believe is that we really need to listen to women who are in engineering, listen to their things that they've struggled with, listen to things that have inspired them, things that encourage them, and really take that information and try and improve the situation that we're in. I think we need to listen to women when it comes to improving those numbers, because if we don't, how can we ever expect to have proper equality within engineering when it comes to men?
Absolutely, such a good answer, and I absolutely agree with everything you're saying. And all these small things, when you say it on paper and look like such a small thing, how is that not rolled out across all companies?
Exactly, and when it doesn't cost us, right? It's very simple. We can change an interview time if somebody needs more time, or just a little bit more effort to make sure that a job description is more concise. It's really, it's nothing. It takes 5 minutes.
Yeah, 100%. And off the back of what Hannah's saying, as our woman in engineering, I'd be really interested to hear what you have to say and what experiences you have. Maybe starting with you, Swati?
Answer was really amazing. So I think, there's definitely been progress, but still some progress is required in the field of leadership and technical decision-making roles across. So we should keep going and motivate others to take up a stand for themselves and go for engineering and take up the space for themselves.
Yeah, getting more kind of points for people to speak.
Exactly.
That's a great answer. Actually, so what do you think?
Right, so when I have graduated from women's university, so I've definitely seen the change and vast change that there are many engineers that graduated while I did. So and I can see that, and the research really shows that there are 21% the companies more profitable when they hire a lot of women. And why is that so? It's because they naturally bring a lot of collaboration, empathy, and teamwork in terms of and the dedication to the projects, and that's how it naturally. And we shouldn't be looking at counting the numbers, but we should really be looking at valuing their opinions. And I think the progress is needed in terms of having more open conversations about stuff. And I think I'm quite fortunate to be part of a company that is already being led by wonderful creative women. And and we're just getting there. So happy about it.
I love that. Well, positive note to end on. But yeah, I mean, thank you so much for your time, guys. And I'm sure that we're going to see a lot more creation and innovation and wonderful things to come out of each and every one of you. So yeah, thanks so much, and happy International Women in Engineering Day.